What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Champion Living Podcast, where we believe that consistency, perseverance, and not taking life too seriously are the keys to success. I'm Doug, the founder and owner and head coach of Champion Living Fitness. Each week, I'll be joined by my coaching staff with the vision of providing trustworthy information about fitness, nutrition, and mindset, and how this all applies to being a professional rodeo athlete, as well as people from all walks of life. Are you ready to become a champion? Let's go.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Champion Living Podcast, the only podcast crossing the lines between the sport of rodeo and fitness. We have got one of my very best buddies on today, Cody Johnson. How are you, bud?
I'm good, man. Good.
We're stoked to be here because it's such a different setup than normal. Where you just got done roping at the World Series.
No tour buses, no guitars today.
No studios. We're set up right between the horse stalls. He just got done roping. What roping was that?
That was the 12.5 World Series finale. Roped yesterday in the 13.5. My buddy Michael Fortenberry. Really cool because Michael roped whenever we were in high school, and I rode bulls in high school, and so we hauled together. And
did you make fun of him for roping in high
absolutely. School? I said words I can't say on this podcast. But to get to rope with him, I think it made me a little nervous, which I don't really get nervous playing music very often anymore. That's kind of my deal. I know what I'm doing. Yeah. I missed all 3 steers yesterday. All 3, like I had never roped before in my entire life. So today to turn 3 good steers. My man had a little trouble in the corner and fouled up some of the runs. We didn't get anything, but it was a good confidence booster for me, especially going into tomorrow and the next day for the 11.5 and the 10.5.
So you're open here 3 nights or 3 days, really?
Yeah, it'll be 4 total. Yeah.
What did you like yesterday in your head when you missed your first one? Was there panic? Was there anything like that, or like kind of what was your headspace like?
It's not ever panic when I know what went wrong. So if I'm out of time with my horse, or if my spoke blew out on my loop, or something stupid, or I tend to on faster, especially on the M brand, the Mexican steers that run faster and harder. Mm-hmm. I tend to, whenever I'm pedaling my horse, to get a little tighter up here, and I'll throw the rope
short arm it
instead of keeping my chest and my back open and really making a good loop. So if I know what went wrong, I'm like, hey, be a goldfish. By the way, the goldfish has the shortest memory span of any animal.
Yeah.
Ted Lasso. Be a goldfish. Go to the next one, man. Forget about it. But yesterday, I just couldn't figure out what was going on. When you watch the videos back, you're like, it looked perfect. Mm-hmm. It just didn't happen. But everything happens for a reason, too. So.
Yeah. And rodeo's just like that sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes the rodeo guys are not kind.
You can do everything exactly how it's supposed to be done, and it just doesn't work out, and that's just part of the deal. We're gambling every time we do this, right?
Appropriate for Vegas.
Yeah, right? That'll win. NFR, you've been watching every round, I'm guessing. Who's going to win the world title in team roping?
Man, I think that Tyler Wade, Wesley Thorpe are making a really good run for it.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to catch him. Coleman Proctor's had some really bad luck on the head side this year, so I think that he was second in the all-around race, and I think he's down to third in the all-around race, if I'm remembering right. Mm-hmm. I've been trying to pay attention to this team roping stuff and the NFR, so it's like cramming 10 pounds of crap in a 5-pound bag sometimes up here. Yep. But I really think that Tyler Wade and Wesley Thorpe have been on a roller coaster this year. It's been insane. They've got the horsepower, and I think now they've got that little bit of cocky
swagger
thing going, and you can just tell it. You're always going to have a threat when you've got a Driggers and a junior that you've got to go up against because they're roping gods at this point. But you can see, even whenever Wesley's riding around the corner to take his shot, you can see that little bit of, come here to me.
Yeah,
and when you have that on a roll in Vegas, it's hard to stop.
It's almost impossible to stop. But if there is anyone that can turn around, Coleman Proctor definitely can. That dude can be
absolutely
lights out and be unreal.
Yes.
Man, people know you play music. People know that you rope. I don't think people know our history together that much, and I think it's pretty cool. So I want to chat about how we met, our training together over the last, I guess, five years or so.
It's been longer than that, man. We're old.
We are old, dude. We are really old. So I met you in Huntsville.
Right. Well, and my Brandy, my wife, and one of our best friends, Jeremy Melanson, his wife Carly, were going to this gym, CrossFit Hville, and I was like, I'll go. And so I go and I meet Doug, and we start working out together. And I hated the classes. At first, I'm going to CrossFit classes, and I'm like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever done. First of all, I don't like being yelled at. So
I
I
didn't
just said,
think
hey,
so.
dude, I was like, let's do this just me and you. Like, I'll pay you personal trainer. Like, just like come to my house, or I'll come over to the gym or whatever. And the rest is history, man. We became friends and have been friends ever since. I mean, you worked with me for a little while on the road before everything
COVID.
took off for you.
Yep.
And again, like I said earlier, everything happens for a reason. Like, there was a reason I met you at that gym. There was a reason you sold that gym. There was a reason you came out on the road with me and was like, this is not for me.
Yep.
I don't know what I'm going to go do, but I'm going to do something, and here you are, and here I am.
Dude, I tell people that story all the time. Like, COVID hits, I'm like, man, I don't know. I don't really want to do this. And you're like, you need to go start that business that we have talked about for the last 4 years together.
If you got a chance, take it.
Exactly. No, the best thing that ever happened. Like you said, everything happens for a reason. But, man, watching your transformation from a scrawny little bull rider that likes to sing to, what you are now has been really cool to see, because even not even from the general aspect of fitness, but especially rodeo athletes like bull riders have this tendency to be so scared of gaining muscle and so scared of getting strong because they feel that the extra weight is going to inhibit their ability to ride.
Right, but that's not the case.
No.
I mean, you can still do like ballet and yoga and things for your balance. There's those guys like Kaiki Pacheco that does like ballet style workouts. I mean, look how athletic he is.
You know who
But
started that?
Who's that?
Ty Murray.
Really?
Yes.
I had no idea.
Dude, he was doing ballet when he was in college and doing all these like.
But Ty's not a little guy either.
No.
I mean, like, you have to have some type of muscle mass to
Yes.
fight back against these. I mean, I guess we got the door closed because he kept biting my hat. But
he's a firebird.
in these two stalls are two of the biggest head horses here at the World Series.
Yep.
You're not going to just sit up there and ride. You have to ride, and you have to be athletic. And I'll say right now, like, I haven't worked out in 2 months. I've been so busy. I've been going at it so hard on the road, putting on the first Kojo Invitational team roping. There's a lot of things that have gotten in the way. But I will say, like, over the last decade of working out with you and really having that regimen, your body gets conditioned to the point to where I can pick up at any time and go back to it, and I see results instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I do, like, the carnivore diet that I did for 4 months, I saw fat burning off of me to the point where I stopped. I was like, hey, I don't want to go back to being skinny.
Yeah.
But you feel good, which means you perform good, whether it's on stage, whether it's in the arena, whatever it is. For instance, Patrick Smith and I we took Brandy on an elk hunt in the mountains in New Mexico. And
she shot an
I wasn't
absolute stud, by the way.
She shot a huge bull.
An absolute
But I
stud.
wasn't even sore. We climbed all this stuff, and I thought, man,
What was your breathing like?
the oxygen was the only thing that got
Okay,
me.
altitude just a little
The
bit.
altitude. At some points, we were up at like 8,500, 9,000 foot above sea level, and I wasn't out of breath. My body wasn't.
You just couldn't get air.
I just
There's
would
no
go.
air. Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like I'm getting any.
There's no satisfaction.
And
at
I
the
never
end of
thought
breath.
about putting the oxygen tanks in my pack. But like to my point, you maintain, once you do this long enough and you live that lifestyle, and you maintain so much better to where you can have a horse accident. Like, I had a horse accident this year, tore
Yes,
my
you
PCL
did.
muscle
Yeah.
completely in half in my left knee.
Yeah.
And I'm still getting around just fine because my ACL and my MCL are in such good condition that it didn't matter.
Your hamstrings are strong. Everything was
right.
there to mitigate that injury, right? And people, you hear this all the time. They'll work out really hard for like a month or two, and then they'll stop and they think they've lost every single thing. And like you were saying, you don't lose this. You just have to go remind yourself how to do it. And if you're an active person like yourself, dude, you're.
Well, that's what helps too. Is like I'm active in every other aspect of my life.
Yes.
Like ranching at home, it's constant. Thankfully, I've got Carson. He's back here in the background in the stalls, but my brother-in-law Carson takes care of so much for me at the ranch to where if I do come home and I'm spent, I've already done this TV show, to fly to this interview day, to go to this media day, to go to business meetings, to play 2 more shows, and then go to an award show. And I come home, if I want to stay in the house for 2 days, I got a good man there to help me. But most of the time, when I hit the ground, it's go. Like, it's not uncommon for me to land at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m., get off the jet, get in the
straight
car,
to
come
it.
home, and the horses are saddled, and we rope at 6 a.m.
Yep. That's what it takes, though, to be good at anything. And I think
Right.
you just naturally have this tendency to drift towards excellence. Like, you're not going to do something halfway.
No.
That's just not how you do things. And you
Winners
can see
win.
it. Yeah.
And you have to work at being a winner.
Dude, that's it. So when we were started working out, you did not love it at first. And I don't
No.
think anyone really does. But there comes a point in time where you start hitting that routine and it does start to feel good. And you stop for a second and you feel bad.
Yeah, you feel like you can't live without it.
Yeah. When did that start happening for you? Like, did you start seeing changes yourself? Like, dang, I'm putting on some muscle, or was it just strictly like waking up and like, I've got more energy, I feel better?
I don't know if it's a genetic thing with me, but like, literally, and you know this, 2 weeks, and I can look in the mirror and I'm a completely different person.
I'm the same way. Yeah.
And it really for me, it's diet. So like and you mentioned earlier like things that people don't know about me. It's really hard to be on the road because sometimes you get off stage at midnight, and guess what, dude? It's pizza.
Yep.
And you're hungry, so you're gonna eat freaking pizza.
Yep.
In order to keep a carnivore diet type thing going on the road or a paleo, you really have to prepare before you get on the road. You have to prepare your meals. You have to talk to in my position, my hospitality guy, and go, hey, look, tonight when you get Cane's chicken, I want grilled chicken.
Yep.
And I want 3 orders of it.
Yeah.
And I don't want French fries.
Yep.
And don't get me a damn milkshake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And you have to really work on it. But like, for me, I can always tell whenever I stop working out, like my body, I feel like there's a drug that I'm not getting. Like my body is dependent on this, we'll call it a drug, but like I'm not getting my fix.
Yep.
The only time that I can do that without feeling that way is when I'm extremely active everywhere else. Like, for instance, the month of October and the month of November for me, dude, I was 150 miles an hour constantly.
Yep.
And so you have to have a little grace with yourself and say, all right, my schedule is so insane, it's okay.
Yep.
I'm going to start back. I am going to start back on this, and I will have a routine whenever I'm not providing for my family.
Yep.
Because at the basis of what I do, that's what I'm doing.
Yep.
Not with roping. Thank God I'm not providing for my family roping. We'd be some hungry son of guns, boy.
For a little bit, maybe, but you get it figured out. Having that grace is so important. And when I think about your life is obviously crazier than the average person's and even most rodeo athletes, but it's also so similar when you think about the travel aspect of it. These guys are on the road, especially team roping, any rodeo athlete, but the preparation is all the same when it comes to having to think ahead on your diet and where you're going to be able to get a little workout in, if you're going to be able to get one in. And like having that grace is so important because otherwise you'll never get started again.
No, and luckily for me, in my corner is the physicality of my show. Like, you've been to a million of them. I don't stand still.
No.
And it's a go, 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 go thing. Very energetic. It demands a lot out of me physically to where you'll see me on stage sucking air sometimes going, okay, shoot, like I have to really work to be that. People think it might be easy, but then you got to think about it, man. People say, well, a private jet, boy, that must be nice. A bus, that must be nice. But, dude, when you're flying from the private jet to the bus to go play the show, to go to the next show, to get back on the jet, to come back home, to go back to normal life, to do ranch work, all that physicality of that stuff it takes it out of you. And you have to maintenance your body, man. Like, why do we change the oil in our cars?
Yeah.
Why do we check the transmission fluid? Because we want that car to last. Well, this is what do the pastors always say? This is just our earth suit, man.
Yeah.
You got to take care of your earth suit.
Yep. You have to, man. The roping side of things, like you said, thank God you're not making a living at it, and I don't think you have any desire to make a living at it solely on that. But have you ever thought about making a run for the NFR or something like that?
After talking with Colby Lovell and guys like Coleman Proctor, Luke Branquino, that's an all-in deal. People think, I'm just going to go make a run for the NFR. No, these are the best cowboys and cowgirls in the entire universe. And they devote their entire lives to this. And it's not just them. It's their wives and husbands. It's their children. It's their team around them. Like Patrick Smith and Trevor Brazil, talking to those guys, they had to have jets and planes and cars lined up all across the country in order to hit 5 rodeos in one day during Cowboy Christmas in the middle of July to go make the NFR. Yeah. That's a lot of logistics, man, and that's a lot of people backing you. That's a lot of team support. So I joke whenever I say, like, thank God I'm not making a living. The point is I'm not making a living doing it. So for me, this is fun. I get to go compete, win, lose, or draw. Look, man, I got the buckles and I got the saddles to prove what I am. I don't have to prove to anybody. My horsemanship, my horse training skills, or my roping. I know what I am. I think that if I ever wanted to really try, my goal would be set on the circuit finals. I'm going to go win the circuit finals. I'm going to take a year off from music. I'm going to maybe play – I say a year off. I'm going to play very minimal shows.
Yep.
I'm going to make my goal the circuit finals. And if I can achieve that goal, then I can say, what's the next goal? Do I go win? Maybe the goal is just to go win Houston or win Cheyenne.
Yep.
If I can accomplish that goal, maybe God puts it in my cards to where, what if I do wind up at the NFR someday? I'm not saying I can't. I'm just saying that right now I'm blessed. God has blessed me so much with a music career that I almost get emotional talking about it. I'm so thankful for what I have. I really don't want to cut my nose off to spite my face.
Dude, that's so awesome. You ever miss bull riding?
Every day. Sorry, was that a quick answer?
No, that's awesome.
Every
because
day.
I'm the same way when you talk about bareback riding.
Every
And
day.
How much of being a bull rider, like what you learned in the arena on that side of the arena, transfers over to this side?
For me, the physicality part of it, the balance, and there's no fear. Because once you've been camped out on by a bull, that's over.
Yep.
You've had your first car accident. Congratulations.
Yep.
And so you don't have that fear factor with these animals. You respect them more than you fear them. And so for me, when I can get on like what I was on today, one of Bill Fick's really good horses, he's hot-blooded as it gets, man. And I think this sucker's probably 15 and a half hands. He's a lot of horse. But to have that calm mentality of, hey, dude, you could break in half going down this arena. You're not going to put me in the dirt. So let's just get on the same page here.
Yep.
I think that intimidation factor of the lights and stuff and the crowd and the noise, I feed off of that. Whereas I watch a lot of people, they get to the short round, just like what you may be able to hear it in the background right now, and they start shaking and the music's loud and all the lights and there's so many cameras. I rope all day to try to get there.
Yes.
So I can get that little bit of that
Pump.
aggressive
Yeah.
pump. Yeah. And I mean, that transfers over into my music too. I mean, when the pressure's on, I've got a friend of mine, Zach Esposito. He's the wrestling coach for OSU. He said pressure is a privilege.
I've lived by that ever since. you
Pressure
told me
is a
that,
privilege, man.
Yeah.
I love pressure.
It is. I thrive in situations like that as well. And I think your job naturally as a musician and the situations you're in daily make you so good at that. But also at these lower ends may desensitize you a little bit to it, where you have to kind of like pump yourself up. We were talking to Josh Frost this morning, and just about his theories of like how to get prepared for the NFR. Some guys get on bulls. Some guys are like, I don't want to get hurt. I'm not going to get on anything. Josh got on a bull every day for 15 days leading up to this. His brother got on 45 bulls a day. Sorry, not 45 bulls a day.
I was just
Whoa.
fixing to say, holy crap, he's an animal.
A bull a day for 45 days leading up to his first NFR. And he rode 4 out of 10. He won like $100,000.
Yeah.
But what he had realized is he had desensitized himself so much to getting on that he like couldn't get fired up to
Well,
to
and you
ride
think
bulls.
about it, like, like the Mike Tyson thing might be a sensitive subject right now because that fight was rigged.
That was
Sorry.
rigged. Yeah.
But he says, like everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth.
Yep.
Dude, the best way to get prepared for getting punched in the mouth is get in the ring and get punched in the mouth.
Yeah, you've got to.
And I think that like I got a friend of mine, Logan Sifford, who's here. He always says, if Kojo makes a short round, it's over. He's winning something.
Yep.
But that's when I home in because
Right.
I'm like, I live for that short round thing, dude. That's what I always wanted. Like, you got to rope 3 steers to get there. I could care less about those 3 steers once I get to the short round. It's like the preparation for me is from a mental standpoint for shows is just go play shows.
Yep.
I mean, I did that I'm going on almost 20 years. I'm showing my age. 37. I'll be 38 next year. But go play.
Yeah.
Play 2 shows a day. Play. Whether it's $500 for a 4-hour set, go play the show. That way, whenever you wind up in an NFL stadium and you've got them right there in the palm of your hand, you're going, dude, it was harder to have 15 people in a bar in the palm of my hand.
Way harder. No, that's exactly it. You've heard the 10,000 hour rule.
Yeah.
It takes 10,000 hours to master something and be like the best at
I'm
it.
well over my 10,000th
well
hour.
over it, baby. But you see those guys in anything get 6,000 or 7,000 in and quit because they think they should be somewhere else, and they don't really understand the full effect of like not paying your dues, but you.
But here's my outlook on that.
Let's do it.
My mentality is I love losing things. I hate losing. You know me, dude. I'm the most competitive person you know.
Yeah.
Besides maybe your brother.
Yeah.
I won't say I like it. Let me think about this. I understand the process of losing. Because without losing, winning is nothing.
Yeah.
When you lose, for instance, if you're nominated for 5 CMA awards and you win 1, all I want to do is go win those other 4.
Yeah.
Which means that I take that mentality to the songwriting, to the picking the songs, to the studio, to preparing the stage for the next year, our production costs. We're going to put X amount more into production to make it bigger, to make it better because I want to win that. Yesterday, I missed 3 steers. Today, I roped probably the best game I've roped in a long time because I lost. Losing is important. Failure is important to success. Success is whenever hard work and an opportunity meet. But without failure, success is nothing.
That is right on the money, dude. And so many guys I see at the NFR, so they make their first NFR, right? And they think they're never going to not make it again. And
right. No, it's not a handout.
Slump, like they won't make it the second year, and you'll never see them again. Or they'll show up and not have a good year. How would you, if you were talking to an athlete, what would you say to them, those people that are going through a slump like that, to get out of it? Because everything you do, you just keep it simple. Like you said, just go play shows. When you get in these high-pressure situations in the short round, just go rope.
Just go rope.
That's it. You're not thinking about anything else. So, go ahead.
You think about Colby Lovell. 13 NFR appearances. Never won a gold buckle. And he told me in 2020, that's it. I worked all those years. I kept coming back to the ring and getting my mouth punched. Finally, I win it. I'm out. I'm going to go be a horse trainer. I'm going to go home with my family. So you have that side of it. But Colby and I are the same age. I think we're all the same age, right about 37, 38 years old. So if you've got a young kid that's coming on, man, if you're in a slump, you're not ever going to get out of the slump without mounting back up. You've got to put the glove on. You've got to put your boots and spurs on. You've got to keep going. Otherwise, there is someone right around the corner that is ready for you to fail. Ready for you to fail and fall off because they're going, I'm going to take your spot. And I think that if you have that mentality of I'm always being chased, like in the music business, people say, man, I want to make it. I'm ready to make it. I always say, dude, I don't want to make it. That way, every time I have an accomplishment, I look ahead and I go, there's still another mountain over there, dude. We still got to get to that mountain before we climb that next mountain. I don't want to make it. So I think that the mentality of you're in a slump, but slumps are going to happen. Roping, music, bull riding, anything rodeo, life, marriage, finances, you're going to hit that slump. But if you let that slump define you, that will be who you are for the rest of your life. You have to get out of that slump.
Have you ever read any goal-setting books or anything like that?
No.
Dude, you just naturally – the way you set your goals up, the way you look at it is literally how the most successful writers in that genre tell you to set it up.
I've never done it. I mean, I'm reading a book right now on CEO leadership. And it's helped a little bit. Honestly, it's helped my temper a lot.
What's it called?
Dude, I can't even remember. Okay. I'll have to send you a picture of it.
Yeah, please.
I should have been more prepared. But I had a lot going on today. Gosh dang, Brandy could tell you. I'll get her over here in a minute. But just not getting mad about things. There's always going to be little fires within your company, within your life. Just put the little fires out. Don't get mad about it. Just keep going, because at the end of the day, when everybody's pulling their hair out over all these small fires, they're looking to the CEO. They're looking to the leader. And whenever the leader's confident, think about a battlefield. If you look over and the general's standing on the front lines and he's going, chill out, boys, it's going to be just fine.
Smoking a cigar, hanging out.
You feel a little bit more confident being on this team. So, I mean, I've never read any of that stuff, but that's just the way I start my day. Like yesterday when I missed those 3 steers, I told you earlier, I could not figure it out. That's fine. Today, I'm going to come back and I'm going to rope my freaking game. I was not at the South Point today. I was at the J-Bar Sea Ranch in Madisonville, Texas, roping the same steers I've always roped because they're no different. Just go rope, man. You take this big round thing and you put it over these 2 little pointy things and you go left. It's
Real
not
simple.
that hard.
Man, it's so important to keep it simple, and you can make anything difficult, but especially rodeo events, man.
Dude, rodeo has some weird –
That's the
it
hardest
is a
part
weird
about the
way
game.
of getting in your head.
It's the hardest part about the game. We talked to all these guys. I talked to world champions, dude, that call me in the bareback ride, and previous world champs are like – what I don't know what's going on. I'm like, you're not doing the fundamentals. There's 3 things you have to do to ride bucking horses. Lift on your rigging, drive your hips, and set your feet. All right, you got to tuck your chin, too.
Yeah, you got to do that. Otherwise, you wind up with a broken neck like me.
Yeah, exactly.
I always tell Carson, my brother-in-law, he's such a great cowboy, such a great horse trainer, but he can get really down on himself, like really, really down on himself, to the point where it's great to be hard on yourself. It's good to go in the stall, punch the wall, be mad, and say, gosh darn it. I hate myself right now because I lost. That's good. Have that fire.
But then you got to be that goldfish like you were
talking
about.
Be the goldfish and forget about it. And so I told him not too long ago, he was in a slump. And I said, dude, you're roping not to miss. Don't rope not to miss. Back in the box and rope to win. Not even to catch. We're here to win. Because if you rope to win and you still lose, I was roping to win. Nobody can say anything about me. And so, like, today, after missing 3 steers yesterday, I've got a whole week ahead of me of roping before I play 2 shows.
Yep.
My partner today, Chris Harris, says, when you back in that box, he said, Cody Johnson, he said, you're a winner. He said, you're one of the most aggressive athletes as far as your mentality that I know. When you back in that box to win.
Yeah.
When you pick your rope up, swing your rope to win.
Yeah.
Don't swing your rope trying not to miss. And I was like, it comes full circle back to me, but I think it's great advice.
Mm-hmm. So many people don't hear that advice either, man. Like,
no,
you have to have intention behind what you're doing, and have a purpose. You can't just float through. Especially
it's not
going to
happen for you.
No, it never will.
It's not going to happen for you.
We were talking about this with Josh too. You can buy as many resources, you can go to as many bull riding schools as you want, but if you don't practice the things you learn, you're never going to get any better. And so many guys put the money in, they're like, oh, I'm going to be better automatically.
Dude, I was born with natural talent as far as music.
Yeah.
Natural. It just came natural. Like, dude, I've been singing since I was 2 years old. I hear things musically that people went to college for 6 years to try to figure out, and I hear it. That doesn't mean that I'm going to play a good show.
Nope.
You have to play that guitar till your fingers bleed. Mm-hmm. You have to write 1,000 horrible songs before you ride a deer rodeo.
Yep.
You know, you have to put in the time. And I think that boils down to the type of people that we are. As Americans, we're given a lot of things. We feel entitled to, like, we've got it made, man.
Yep.
It's the USA. Look what all we have. Yep. But we've got this generation of kids that are coming up that feel entitled that it's going to be given to me. There was no participation trophies whenever I grew up, dude.
No.
You either won or you lost. And so you have to have that mentality of the only way I'm going to beat Doug today is if I work harder than Doug.
Yeah.
And guess what? If Doug beats me, I'm just going to go back to the practice pin and work harder
Keep
than
working,
Doug.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it. Just go back to the drawing board. Dude, speaking of that, I never really get to talk about stuff like that, but like you're talking about the next generation kind of being softer or entitled a little bit. And I see that, not entitled at my rodeo schools, but way softer. Like you learn to get on bulls, me, you learn to get on bucking horses. Me and Richie got on like 17, 18 horses in 2 days sometimes. Yeah. And these kids, I have a hard time getting them on 2 or 3 in a day.
We would get on like 10 or 12 bulls a night.
Because you knew
for
that's
like 4
the
nights
only
a
thing
week.
that would make you better. Like,
dude, I'm talking about broken bones, busted lips, growing muscles hanging out the bottom of your pants, and you're still getting on because and maybe that's the tough Hedeman approach. That's who my idol was.
Man.
But like
a totally different time.
I just think that we need to bring back that generation of young men that say, hey, look, I'm going to outwork you. Mm-hmm. I'm going to push harder. Mm-hmm. I'm not afraid to get – can I say shit like that?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
I'm not afraid to go get the shit slapped out of me.
Yeah.
And when I do, I'm going to wipe my face off and I'm going to go right back in.
Yep.
You know, like we need more of that because I think that's what's going to – we need more men.
Talk closer.
Like, men, men that will actually go out and work because that's going to transfer over into your marriage. Mm-hmm. That's going to transfer over into your work ethic. It's your finances, all of it, man.
Mm-hmm. The leadership just as a country will change, I think. I think with what's going on, I think that we're like in this golden age. Like we're about to enter another golden age. I
believe that too.
And I think that
I want to believe that.
Yeah, I want to believe that as well.
Yeah.
But I think we're on the swing and just it's fun watching. Like I got to see you raise kids far before I got to do. You know, we're about to have our first kid, and Al's asking me like, are you nervous? And I'm like, I'm actually really not that nervous because I was there with Cody and Brandy when Clara was a baby, when Corey was like, I've seen it all be done, and I admire you guys as parents because that's how I want my kids to be. And
Thank you
watching
for
them
that.
grow up, man, like they are.
That means a lot.
They're awesome, dude, and like it's just it fires me up to all of us be raising kids the same way, kind of.
Yeah.
So you know those next generations are going to go hopefully. Not back, but
well, it comes down to legacy,
better.
man. Like what we leave behind. People think about legacy and they think about finances. Yeah. Dude, your great grandkids are not going to care if you left them $10 billion. They're just going to be used to it.
Yeah.
Leave that legacy of work ethic behind. Leave that legacy of what kind of cloth are we cut from. And I think that's a good way to honor God too. You honor God, you honor your parents.
That's the best way, man.
It's the best way. And you pass that down to where when we're old and gray on our deathbeds, we can know, hey, the generations that we left behind us are better off because of us.
Man, that's so, so important. And speaking of legacies, you're kind of building another legacy of your own back at the house, back at the ranch. And you didn't come from a family of ranchers. No. Did your mom work in the prisons too?
No. Mom was a banker.
Okay.
She worked at banks. She would, whenever I was little, she quit working to do homeschool for me. And so she would clean houses. Me and my dad would mow yards. My dad worked for 32 years at the prison system. So work ethic and drive, was always there. Like, it was very apparent in my household. Like, it was obvious that work ethic was the only reason we're paying the bills. And that kind of stuck with me. And fortunately, I've been able to, I was able to have a career that I'll say it. I mean, I was blessed very well financially, and I've worked very hard for that. But I was not going to be one of those people to go out and just be like rich for a minute and blow it and be stupid.
Are you still driving the GMC?
Yes.
I love it.
I put a flatbed on it with a hay fork on the back. Butler Beds, shout out. I paid for it, by the way. No, like I wanted to have a legacy of being a first-generation rodeo cowboy was good. I was the first guy in my family to ever rodeo, whether it was riding bulls, riding cutting horses, team roping. But more than that, I wanted to leave behind a generation of cowgirls. I've got girls. I don't have boys yet. So, fingers crossed. But, the J-Bar C Ranch, so we started Kojo Land and Cattle. Right now we're raising Brafords. We got Hereford bulls, Brahman cows. And when I get back from Vegas, I'm going to pick up some registered Black Angus. We're going to try to dabble out a little bit. We've got a big ranch around us there in Madisonville that Mr. Gary and Miss Kathy Buckholtz have kind of patted me on the back and shook my hands and said, hey, look, we'd love to, when we get ready to sell you this acreage one day. And it's a huge step because, it's about 3,000 acres. But I wanted to leave something more than a guitar behind. I wanted my little girls to look at me and look at the boys that they're going to be talking to as well and go, hey, that dude ain't nothing like my dad. He's not a cowboy. He doesn't believe in God. His yes don't mean yes, and his no don't mean no. His morals don't line up. And we were raised right here on this ranch. We didn't have to deal with a lot of the stuff that is out there in the media today, and as a focal point on the news of as far as sexuality and the perversion and the things that are going on in this world. I wanted to leave that ranch there for my children to raise their children and their children to raise their children on. And it means a lot to me and Brandy, man.
It's been so cool to watch you guys build that and just keep adding to it and just totally take on a whole new venture with ranching. Is it all beef? Is that what you're doing with them?
Yeah.
So
all beef.
Like, run me through the process of like start to finish.
So start to finish for GKB cattle, which is Kathy and Gary Buckholtz, and we buy registered Hereford bulls from them. Okay. We put them on some really, really good quality commercial Bremer cows. And when I say really good quality, commercial grade, these heifers are some of the best in the country. They're really great moms. They're really hard to be around. You have to be a cowboy to work these cows, or you can wind up dead. Yep. I mean, it is what it is. Like, I've been in a few situations at my ranch. Colby Lovell, Carson Seago can attest to that. They're not easy to work. So we bought a section of the ranch where we're just going to raise those Brafords. They make great replacement heifers. They're very hardy. They survive drought. They survive the wet seasons. The steers are really great. As far as bulls, you're not really getting a good bull crop out of that cross, which is why I'm going to diversify a little bit with the Black Angus, because I can always throw the Black Angus bull on my Bramer cows. You create your Black Baldies depending on what the market's calling for, or you can take your Hereford, throw it on your Black Angus. You can. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do this depending on what the cow market's doing. At the same time, we're cutting the entire place. We fertilize, we weed kill, we work on the nitrogen content of the soil, so we have our own hay that we're feeding our cows. And then on the backside of it, you got Carson training a set of 2-year-olds, a set of 3-year-olds, a set of 6-year-olds, and we've got brood mares and colts out in the field that we're growing for Riata and Royal Crown and all these different rope and futurity horses. So there's a lot going on at home.
Dude, so much going on. And to balance that all with what you got going on, you definitely couldn't do without the team that you have.
No, I have a great crew, man. Starting with Brandy.
Yep. Yeah.
Starting with Brandy.
She's been the head of it for a while, man.
Yeah. She's the boss.
Yeah.
I get the limelight.
The tiniest lady that I'm actually pretty fucking scared of.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. You've never had a plate thrown at you.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't. No, I haven't. I'm going to keep it that way. No, man, it's so cool to see you doing all this. And, like, we talk a lot. And you've got to have, as I've gotten older, my friend group has gotten smaller.
Yeah.
Almost, I would say on purpose, because it's not that my other friends don't serve what I'm doing. It's that they're not. I feel like I have to give everything to hang out with them, and they don't. There's no reciprocal like support or anything like that. And also, you start hitting places in life like where a lot of people can't relate, if that makes sense, or don't want to.
I think that people like us, much like I'm sure most of your fan base that's listening to this or watching this, when you're a driven person, people fall off, man.
Yeah.
And I've always told my band, I've always told my crew, keep up or get left behind, because this train it's not stopping. I'm going to continue to better myself as a person, both physically, both mentally, as a husband, as a father, as a rodeo athlete, as a musician, as a songwriter, as a CEO. I'm constantly going to be trying to be better. And if that doesn't fit in for you, then, man, we can still love each other. It's okay.
Yeah.
But maybe you're not inside that circle right now. And the people that are around me that I keep inside my circle are ride or die. And if I called right now and said I'm in a bind, they'd be here.
Yep.
And they support me, but they're also not scared to tell me the truth. I mean, you and I have had a lot of difficult conversations on one end or the other.
Yep.
You have to have the kind of people around you that will tell you, man, it's because you didn't throw your loop right. You stopped right here.
Yep.
You suck.
Yep.
Or, man, it's because you said this. That's why that happened.
Yep.
You shouldn't have reacted that way. Hey, guess why she's mad? It's because you're a prick, man.
Yep.
Stop being that way.
Yep.
Or, hey, man, this ain't all about Cody. God put you in this position. You're forgetting to honor God. You need people like that in your life, dude. And if you don't have that, then you're not ever going to be anything, in my opinion.
I think about that in the sense of like traveling partners. So many guys get in the
Dude,
truck with the wrong people and don't understand they're riding for their friends' goals or because these guys are cool. But then they get a few years down the road and they're nowhere. They haven't gone anywhere. And it's so important.
You are a product of who you surround yourself with, for sure.
Dude, it's been the most important thing in my adult life that I've you honestly taught me that. So it's so important to talk about, and a lot of guys in general don't talk about that stuff.
No.
Like, we're too proud, right?
Dude, I'm not too proud. I actually, this last year, took some advice and got a therapist. I'm a year and a half into this guy, Chad, that I talked to in Nashville. He specializes in high-performance male individuals that are CEOs or billionaires or entertainers or athletes, because not a lot of people understand the mentality of those type of men. And in speaking to Chad, I've talked to him about stuff with my family or marital issues or internal issues or like financial stuff. I mean, just like, but I'm not scared to talk about that anymore. And it's like once I surrounded myself with that guy who does not have a dog in the fight and can give you true, honest advice, even when you're wrong and it sucks to hear, it's such a good tool to have. So like anybody listen, I encourage you, like, go talk to somebody. If you're struggling, it's more than just prayer, which I do a lot. Like, I consult God on everything. I pray to God about every single thing I do. But you do need another human being sitting down that God put in your life to say, we're going to talk about the difficult stuff.
Yep. Yeah, it's so important to just get that out there because, like I said, a lot of guys don't want to talk about it. They don't want to be told about it. And I think a lot of people think, well, I'm not depressed. Well, there's so many other reasons that a guy needs to talk through.
It does
things.
not make you a sissy to talk to somebody.
And I think that the more high level my business has got, the more it helps that I get to just talk out through scenarios, right? And it helps me make my decisions. And a person not having the dog in the fight makes it way better because they'll tell you point blank what's supposed to happen, I want to talk about Colby and him being in your corner because a lot of young athletes think they're going to figure this out all on their own. And not that you can't, but how important is it having a mentor like him when you're getting into this team roping to kind of show you the ropes? And honestly, dude, you've elevated very quickly in this.
Yeah.
So is he, he didn't do it, but is he part of it?
Oh, yeah. He's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a horse. Excuse me. He had a horse named Money that he pretty much gave me. I want you to take this horse. I want you to go to the number 8s. I want you to go to the number 9s. I want you to go rope. Take what we do here in this arena. And listen, Colby's not everybody's cup of tea because he's hard on you if he believes in you.
Yep.
I've seen him do schools with certain people that he was not hard on at all. He was very easy, and I'm going, wait a minute. How come you didn't tell them this? How come you wasn't riding them like a rented mule? And he's like, because they're not going to go the places you are. It just is what it is. I'm here to help them. I'm here to make their horsemanship better. I'm here to give them confidence and give them the tools. But he said, you are different. You, I'm going to push. You, I'm going to be mean to because you deserve it because I know what you can be. And having a guy like that in your corner that's probably one of the best cowboys I've ever seen, one of the best horse trainers I've ever seen, and one of the best team ropers I've ever seen. On the other side of that, he's a good man. He's a damn good man. And we have a mutual respect for each other because I'm wired about like he is. And I may be one of the few people that he talks trash to that I'm not scared of.
Yeah.
And he knows it.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, Colby, I'm calling you out on that deal. But he also can tell when I'm too far gone, too. Yeah. Hey, man, unclench that jaw and listen. You're being as hard-headed as you can get right now. You're not ever going to learn. Like he said a few times, if I picked up a guitar and I started playing. Wouldn't you tell me how to do it? I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, should I listen? I'm like, yeah. He's like, then listen. I'm trying to teach you how to be better.
To help you.
But like just even the yellow horse that I'm riding here, having friends like Colby and Bill Fick, hey man, your horse is in the rehab program. We got a right back suspensory micro tear issue that he's going to come back great. And he's one of my better horses, probably my best friend besides my wife. His name is Booger, and I have a soft spot for this crazy horse. But he couldn't make it, so immediately Colby gets on the phone, calls Bill, boom, here I am with a great horse in Vegas. Colby texts me after every run, pick your elbow up, that's why you missed. Hey, be aggressive today. Don't go in there and wait for it to happen. Go in there and say, come here to me and show these people, like, you don't have to prove anything, Cody Johnson. They all think you're cool anyway, so just go rope. Yep. Be the roper today. And it's very important, like you were saying, having people in your corner, especially whenever they can get on the same wavelength as you as far as your intensity, because I'm a very intense person, and I have to have people in my corner that can understand that and feel that passion without it coming across the wrong way.
No, that's right on the money, man. When ropers don't like to work out very much, and I get it. Like
roper body.
Yeah, they're like super dad.
Taco Bell and Red Bull, baby.
But as coaches, like I wanted to break through the ropers so much because it helps so much in your ability to ride your horse. If you see so many guys outnumbered, they're like outpowered. Like the horse is too much for them.
Well, they've got the pocketbook to buy the big nice horse, but they don't have the athletic ability to keep up with it.
Or the horse before the cart, essentially.
Yeah,
is what they're doing, right?
You're literally putting your horse before your cart.
So like I want you to explain the benefits you've seen from resistance training, from being strong in your roping game, because in a game that it's hundredths of a second that can make a difference.
Literally hundredths of a second. I mean, well, it also I can preach straight from the heart here. For 5 years, I had so much pain in my neck and in my right arm, my entire right arm. I was losing the functionality of my arm. Like for instance, if I was holding this cup or holding this mic, I would just drop it because I was losing the functionality of these three fingers.
I remember, yeah.
Long story short, after a bunch of imaging, my neck was broken. My C6 and C7 vertebrae, there was 2 fractures there, 13 bone fragments that were sitting on top of a nerve, 2 bone spurs that had to be shaved off, a disc that had to be replaced, and that was in 2020.
That wasn't that long ago, 2 years ago?
So immediately afterwards, having the athletic ability, first of all, dealing with the pain. I've never felt that kind of pain in my life, and I've broken just about every kind of bone you can break riding bulls. I've never felt anything like that, to the point to where I told my wife I didn't want to live with it anymore. Like, I'm tired of living with this pain.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take painkillers.
Yeah.
I don't want to dive into a bottle. I don't want to do any. I want to be better. After this surgery, working with you as far as resistance, even things like scapula push-ups, doing that every day. Resistance band of opening up this. I feel better than I ever have in my entire life. Even after 2 months of not working out, like we talked about in the beginning of this segment, I still feel better than I ever have because I have that fortitude that's already the foundation that was built up. And so for me to survive a 6.5-hour neck surgery that really could have paralyzed me on my right side, like the doctor said that this could have been, he has no idea how I'm not paralyzed. To come back from that, I mean, that speaks volumes, man. So I owe you a lot.
No, I appreciate that, man. And I've seen it with myself, with my spine fusion, but there's so much you can do that doesn't require that much. You said scapular push-ups. Like, dude, that's the easiest thing.
That's the easiest thing. You can do that in the floor of the bus.
Yep. And regular day life has everybody sitting most of the day, right? And they're so rounded forward, and you're talking about postural things. You have to
opening
have a
your
big
chest up.
Yes, to rope and deliver.
And you see it whenever you're roping, too. It's not about being so swole that you're the guy at the gym that skipped leg day for 20 years. It's about being able to have the athletic ability. And we talked about this off microphone earlier. Being in time with your horse. Well, that starts from where you set your horse in the box. And when you ride horses like I do, they're pretty hot. And they're a lot of horse. I need a horse that matches my intensity. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. From his feet to your feet in the stirrups to where you transfer out of the box. Now your momentum is going forward. If you're hunchback like this, and my tip's up here, and now I got to come down here, you're late. And you're not ever going to rope good like that. You might get lucky. But having the athletic ability to go forward with your momentum, and it transfers from your feet to your shoulders to the end of your rope, and then it sets you back in a good posture where you're not wallering all around once you get him caught. Once you get him captured, sit back up and push that nose across there and really have a good face. Man, it's so important, and I think that a lot of team ropers would benefit from that if they would just listen, to quote Colby. Just listen.
That's it. How much easier not easier, how much better does your horse work when you're riding him correctly?
It makes him easier.
Yep.
All of a sudden, you take this horse that's shaking because he's so ready to go. When you do that, it's so fluid. It's so fluid across the arena. You're not bouncing around and you're not fighting each other. You know, you're not pushing and pulling on each other to try to figure it out. It's a very fluid motion, which makes his day easier, which prevents injuries not only you but for him too.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of what we see the most when we do get timed event guys is we're getting they're coming to us because they have overuse injury. They've been only roping for so long, and so one set of muscles.
A lot of shoulders, a lot of pec.
Yep, it's just
a lot of scapula.
Overused, overstrong, and everything around it is underdeveloped. And so we run into a huge muscle imbalance. I bet there's guys that have quit roping because of simple little things where like internal, external rotation with some bands and some scap pull down, scap push-ups would literally have them roping in 2 months.
Yeah.
And they just won't do it because they think it doesn't work.
No.
And it's the biggest misconception. I think it's the biggest thing that timed event athletes are missing, especially at this high level of competition.
Yeah, we're roping for millions.
Millions.
Why not put in the effort?
And we're not even at the NFR.
We're here at the World Series finale.
Everybody can rope for millions.
Yeah.
Why not go and put the most into it and go reap the benefit? Because 80% of them are not. They're here.
Well, here's the offside of it, especially for like low-numbered roping guys and gals. We go spend the $75,000, $150,000 on this horse that we think is going to make us win. But if we're not putting in the time on ourselves physically to ride them better and to go to coaching classes like people like Colby Lovell or Patrick Smith, what should I be using a different bit on this horse? Am I being too hard-handed on this horse? Am I putting pressure on my feet the right way for this horse? When you do that for them, you see a lot less horse injuries as well.
Absolutely. What you're talking about is use the resources that are there. When we first started riding bulls and bucking horses, there was no resources.
No, there's no
It was
resources.
get tough or die, and this is how it's going to go. Maybe you'll make it, maybe you won't. And guys, girls, I think, again, rodeo athletes, cowboys, cowgirls are a little bit prideful, and they don't want to go use these resources, but go use the damn resources because it's going to expedite your learning process so much faster.
I agree.
And it's so frustrating not winning. And how many times you heard this in the bull riding? I'm entered here. I haven't ridden anything in the last 50 bulls. It's like, dude, save the money and go to a school.
Let's go back to basics.
Yeah.
There's a reason they make roping dummies. I'll get out here in the morning and stand flat-footed. Just basics.
Dude,
just basics. Open your chest, pick your elbow up, follow through. Just basics. And then that transfers in there when you're trying to be six flat.
Yes. When you're practicing, and I love that you said I'm standing flat-footed because you're not going to be doing all this stuff in your saddle, right? Is there like three things? Is there a system you have when you're practicing? Like I do A, B, and C every time?
It depends on the horse I'm riding.
Okay.
So if I'm riding like I've got a 6-year-old horse at home that is going to be, I truly believe that someone is going to take him to the NFR at some point. Okay. He's that good.
Badass. Yeah.
So he's Michael Jordan at 12 years old. He doesn't really know how good he is yet, and so I'm having to have the patience of I can't get mad at certain stuff when he acts up in the box or if he changes his leads up randomly. I have to go, first of all, was that me? Did I do that? Second of all, we're going to correct that and go through there. With him, I try to really rope the slow steers really slow. We're going to slow up. We're going to capture. Now we're going to move off my right leg. We're going to face up real good. And then I'll give him a good, I've got a good set of in-branded Mexican steers out of Mexico that haul ass. Again, when you go from a trainer steer to a Mexican that's going to run like that, do everything exactly correct. Then I'll get off of him. Hey, you did good.
Yep.
I'm done.
Reward.
Whereas if I was to jump on this horse here, Snowball, that's 18, fixing to be 19 years old, I could crawl on his neck. I could get in the saddle backwards, and we're still going to do the same thing. So at that point, I'm roping for me. If I'm roping bad off of that horse, I've got a me issue that I need to fix. I'll get off. I'll go back over to the dummy. Make sure that and a good thing about having Carson at the ranch is watch me. What am I doing?
Yep.
You're not following through. You're doing this. You're stopping halfway. You're darting it at his horns instead of wrapping it around his horns. Oh, and then that one little thing, having somebody there that'll be truthful with you, click, boom, I get right back on my horse, and we'll rope 20 out of 20 and get faster as we go.
Dude, yeah, it's so important. And having someone there, it just kind of clicked in my head when you said you had Carson watch. If you don't have someone there to watch, video yourself. Like,
a good
video
point.
your reps, because
Yeah.
you will be able to break it down when you're going off a feel, especially when you're new at something. You
Yeah.
really don't know what the feel is supposed to be, and you could be doing it wrong, and it
Yeah.
could feel okay, and then you get to the live situation. It's like, what is happening? It's like, well, I'm putting in bad reps in the practice part
Right.
of this. We have to be perfect in that,
Right.
like you were saying.
Well, that
man.
leads back to slumps, like we started this segment with. That's how you get in a
Fundamentals.
slump. We create bad habits, and then we think that those bad habits are what is going to work
Mm-hmm.
eventually. It's like, no, you need somebody, a video camera, a good friend that'll tell you, hey, you're not lifting.
Mm-hmm.
You're not lifting on your rigging whenever we're bucking out.
Yep.
Something as simple as that.
Yep, absolutely, man. Moving on, what's next for you, dude? Like, 2024 is over, baby.
Christmas.
Yes. So
Christmas.
you guys are done for the year besides these 2 shows.
Yeah, we got our 2 shows in Vegas.
And what's 25 look like?
We're going to take our kids on vacation for Christmas.
Woo, where
Go to a white Christmas.
a white
We're going to
Christmas.
the mountains. I'm not going to say where
No,
because
don't
then
do that, yeah.
some of y'all might show up. Now we're going to go to the snow, man. Go snowmobile and build snowmen and maybe try some skiing. We've never done that. And
Dude.
just get away for a little bit. Right now, a year ago, we've had mold remediation going at the house. So now we're almost 2 years into this deal of remodeling our home.
Yep.
So we're living in a single wide trailer house by the rodeo arena, and we're gonna get away. And then in 24, we've already got Belfast, Ireland sold out. We've got London, we've got Scotland, Australia, New Zealand, and I'm going back in the studio in the spring to go record a whole new record. So,
Dude.
I mean, there's a lot going to be going
Another
on.
big year, baby. Like you said, oh, look, there's another mountain.
There's
top.
another
Let's go
mountain,
over
2025. We got to kick 24 out of the door.
there. Man, I'm so damn proud of you. And
Thank you,
thanks
brother.
for having us. Hopefully they can hear it with everything going on. I'm sure
Yeah,
they
I
can.
hope this whole thing wasn't a bust.
No,
but
I think it's going to be
brother,
awesome.
I love you. I'm proud of you. Thank you for having me
Thanks,
on.
bro. Guys, till next time, we'll catch you later.
This episode is brought to you by Beastmaster Pro Rodeo. Rodeo season is right around the corner, and it's time for you guys to gear up with the best. We're proud to partner with Beastmaster Pro Rodeo, the go-to source for top quality gear that keeps you riding strong and performing at your best in the arena. Beastmaster isn't just about the essentials. They're constantly innovating. This season, they're rolling out brand new products designed to help you push the limits and take your performance to the next level. And as a Champion Living listener, you get an exclusive hookup. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word, caps lock on. It's going to save you 10% at checkout on your entire order. So whether you're professional or just getting started, Beastmaster has the gear you need to tackle the season ahead. Head over to beastmasterrodeo.com to gear up with the best for this upcoming season. If you want to learn more about our coaches and program options, make sure to swing over to our website at www.championlivingfitness.com. You can fill out the Become an Athlete form to set up your free consultation and have all your questions answered by a coach.